Hey guys, welcome to another programming in PHP lesson. And today what we want to do is talk about how to use HTML forms and PHP together. So in other words, we're going to allow the user to submit some information using forms as an input tool to submit some information to the server and get the server to process the data and then output that information in the browser. So the first thing I want you to do is create a forms.php file that is empty, and it's gonna have the HTML tag, the body tag, the PHP opening and closing tags where we enter in our PHP code, and the /body/HTML. These are the only codes that you need, and basically if you view this file in Internet Explorer or in Chrome, it's just empty at the moment. And the first thing we want to do is create a form in HTML, and the way you do that is you put the bracket, the triangle bracket form, and slash form, and basically within this is where we can make up our form. Now to create a form, basically you need some text. For example, I'm just going to say message colon. And so this word message is going to appear on the screen, and I'm going to put in triangle bracket input and slash input, and basically here is where I insert some kind of input object or control. So if you're familiar with Visual Basic, there are things like text boxes or radio buttons or whatever, or submit buttons. And so I'm going to have a text box, so type equals text, so this will create a text box. And I'm also going to name this text box, and it's going to be called message, right? The name of this text box is message. And I'm also going to create a submit button. That's just going to say submit, and that's it. That's the form. So if I save this, refresh the page, and you can see that I have some text showing up on the screen, a text box, and submit. Now it doesn't matter what you type in here, it's not going to do anything right now because you haven't programmed it to do anything. So what do we want the form to do? Well, we want it to post this information, and post actually has different meanings to posting mail or posting letters in real life, but for now that's all we need to understand, is we're posting the information in this form to the server, and the action just means which file are you posting it to, which file with the PHP code are you going to send it to that's going to process this information. And what you can do is just type in the name of this file, which is forms.php. Now this will work, but if you ever change the name of this form, this file, then what happens is you'll have to edit the code and change the name here as well. So we don't want to have to do that. So what we're going to do is use a PHP code that will just tell us the name of this file. So it's bracket question mark PHP space echo space $_ underscore server square bracket, single quotation mark, PHP underscore self, single quotation, square bracket, semicolon, question mark, triangle bracket to close off the PHP tag. And this bit of code, what happens is it just retrieves the name of this file, which is forms.php, from a what we call superglobal variable called underscore server. And basically it's just a variable that we use to find out the information of the server, and this just points to inside the server array an element with the key PHP self that contains the name of this file. So basically all this code does is basically you can substitute this as forms.php, but we want to keep that code there. And then still, if you try to submit this form, so if you refresh, hello, I'm Eddie, it's not going to do anything, because even though it submitted this information to forms.php, we haven't coded anything to process this information. So now I'm going to create a variable in the PHP section, and I'm going to call the variable message received. And this variable is going to store the information that I've just posted. And when you post a piece of information from a form, it actually gets stored in a superglobal variable called posts. So inside this array, it'll be stored in the under the index with the same name as the name of your input control. So it's going to be stored under the name message, under the key message inside the posts variable array. Okay, so I'm going to retrieve this information, which is what this code here does. And I'm going to put it inside the message received variable. And I'm going to echo that message. Make sure you don't spell it wrong. Okay, so now if I save this and refresh the form, it actually works. So whatever message I type in here, hi, my name is Phil, and I submit it, look, that message, that information is processed. So now what I want you to try and do is, if you remember my compound interest calculator, if you remember the compound interest calculator, what happened was in our htdocs folder, we had a compound interest calculator that I'm gonna open up now, and basically we had to hard code into the program how much interest that it was calculating. So if we load that up, you can see here the $1,000, we hard coded that into the program. So what I want you to try and do is create a form that allows the user to enter the amount of money, and then it calculates all of this based on what the user has entered. So I just want to see whether you guys can do that, and come back when it's done. Okay, so now I have just done the compound interest calculator. So here's the code on the right. You can have a look if you want, but basically you type in the amount, let's say $500, and then you click submit, and then it tells you how much money you will have at the end of 10 years. Okay, thanks for watching. See you.